For centuries, countless travelers have crossed endless roads to reach this place. Roman legionaries believed that beyond this horizon lurked sea monsters. Medieval pilgrims came here to symbolically die and be reborn. This wild corner of Galicia, where the Atlantic crashes violently against towering cliffs, became known as Finis Terrae, the end of the earth. Today, we'll explore not only the legends, but also the history, geography, and the real impact this site has had on the lives of those who lived here and those who journeyed to it. Long before the Romans arrived, these lands were home to Celtic tribes known as the Galici. For them, the ocean was not just water, it was a natural boundary, a force to be respected. Their survival depended on the tides, the forests, and the bounty of the coast. They built fortified settlements called castros on hilltops, not only for defense against enemies, but also for protection from floods and storms. Even centuries later, under Roman rule, many traditions endured. Archaeologists have found offerings placed on rocks, evidence that spirituality and survival were deeply connected. In the 1st century BC, the armies of Emperor Augustus conquered Hispania. They built roads, aqueducts, and ports to strengthen trade and military control. But when they reached the far western edge of Europe, they encountered a very different world, sheer cliffs and a vast, dangerous ocean. They named it Finis Terrae, the end of the earth. This was not poetic flourish, it was a practical observation. Beyond this point, no safe routes were known. Some historians suggest the Romans also saw this as a spiritual threshold. Here, the sun appeared to sink into the ocean every night, a phenomenon that inspired awe and caution. For the mightiest empire of antiquity, this place was a reminder that even their reach had limits. With the rise of Christianity, the legend of the world's end took on a new meaning. The tomb of the Apostle James in Santiago de Compostela turned Galicia into one of Europe's great spiritual centers. For centuries, pilgrims traveled for weeks or months across mountains, rivers, and plains to reach the shrine. This journey became known as the Camino de Santiago, the Way of St. James, one of the most important pilgrimages of the Middle Ages. The route also served practical purposes. It boosted trade, hospitality, and cultural exchange. For many, however, the pilgrimage did not end in Santiago. They walked another 90 kilometers west to Cape Fisterre, seeking the true edge of the world. Here they performed symbolic rituals, burning clothes or boots, bathing in the icy Atlantic, and watching the sunset. The experience carried spiritual and psychological weight, an ending and a beginning, a test of resilience and discipline. Today, the Camino is more alive than ever. It attracts not only believers, but also travelers, athletes, and those searching for meaning. For all of them, Finisterre is a destination where history, nature, and human effort converge. The waters around Finisterre have always been treacherous. Medieval maps warned sailors with the Latin phrase hic sunt dracones, here be dragons, and illustrated the seas with monstrous creatures. The Galician legend of the Santa Compaña, a procession of wandering souls, reflected harsh reality. This was a foggy, rocky, and dangerous coastline where lives were easily lost. Generations of fishermen grew up hearing stories of shipwrecks and still perform protective rituals before setting out to sea. Superstitions often carried practical wisdom, teaching respect for the ocean. In 1853, the Finisterre lighthouse was built to reduce shipwrecks. Its beam, still in operation today, cuts through fog and darkness, guiding ships through these perilous waters. Now the Cape blends tourism, cultural heritage, and maritime safety. Thousands of visitors come each year to feel the power of the Atlantic, the strength of the wind, and the scale of this rugged landscape. Yet for sailors, this remains one of the most dangerous stretches of Europe's Atlantic coast. Finisterre was never truly the end of the world, but it has always been a frontier, geographical, cultural, and spiritual. Today, it is a historical landmark, a
a popular destination and a key point for safe navigation. It symbolizes humanity's relationship with nature and shows how extreme landscapes shape culture and history. Finisterre continues to draw travelers, history lovers, and spiritual seekers, reminding us that the greatest stories often begin at the edge of the map.